kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews. Hello there, collectors. Steven here once again with another horror action figure review for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at NECA's Etched Pennywise release for San Diego Comic-Con 2019. That's right, he was an SDCC exclusive. Now, when this one was revealed, some fans were a little disappointed because it's just kind of like a grayscale Pennywise. Doesn't seem that interesting. But, given the fact that they've pretty much done everything from the first It movie, and there wasn't really a whole lot left to do, is this one a worthy choice, or can this one just be erased and left as a memory? Well, let's take a look to see whether or not Pennywise here is worth adding into your collection. So this Pennywise is going to be a little bit of a mismatched, hodgepodge, kit-bashed release with a couple of different parts from different Pennywise figures. Obviously, the body is going to be the standard Ultimate Pennywise 2017 body, but then we do have hands which were found in later releases, not in the original Ultimate release, and then the two heads that we get are going to be from the original Ultimate Pennywise. Or are they? We'll see in a little bit. Anyway, Pennywise here does feature a nice grayscale coloration where it's just going to basically be gray. But what's really cool is that it has etch marks on it, similar to the scene it is referencing in the movie. Essentially, when looking through some of the books, we do see that there is a picture of Pennywise that was drawn in there, kind of creepily looking off to the side. And as you'll see, that is also featured on the box. So if you need a point of reference for what you're looking at when you watch the movie, it's there. Now, what's really cool about this release that NECA sometimes doesn't always get right is that they used a unique shading feature for this figure where the right side, or Pennywise is right anyway, is going to be a little bit darker than the left. And it's not very apparent upon first glance, but when you take a closer look at the figure, specifically at the face, you can see that there is more of an etching effect on his right side. And then as you move down on the torso, you see there are more etch lines on the right portion of the chest. The right shoulder pad is a little darker than the left, so on and so forth. So sometimes when NECA does, let's say, a video game appearance figure, they don't necessarily get the pixelation or shading effect right. It kind of looks just like a whole bunch of different paint blobs here and there. But here, they knocked this out of the park, and if you're liking this effect, then congratulations, this is going to be one you're gonna want to pick up just for aesthetics alone. And there's only one quality control issue on mine, which doesn't really affect the looks. Now for articulation on this Pennywise, it's basically going to be exactly what you are familiar with from other Pennywise releases, though do keep in mind, this is using the more accommodating forearms for the dancing clown Pennywise, so you can swap out with the spider bits. So, if that's something you're interested in, sure. Okay, so what do we have? The head is actually going to be on a peg, but that peg is on a ball joint as it plugs into the neck. So we're going to get some nice movement there in terms of swiveling around and getting him to look up and down because this actual portion of the neck plugs into the body at the shoulders on a ball joint. So we get plenty of range of movement there. We can get Pennywise to look in many different directions. And the head's not difficult to swap off at all. If you actually saw my live stream where I unboxed all of my NECA SDCC figures, you saw that the head pretty much popped off right out of the box. So for the shoulders, it's going to be the same. We do have swivels here that allow you to spin the arm around, and hinges which allow you to move the arms up and down, or depending on how you look at things, in and out. We do have bicep swivels which allow you to spin the arms. For those of you who did catch that live stream, that one just loosened up on its own, so that's good. Now we do have a double elbow hinge, but unfortunately, I'll go ahead and pop this off so you can see, the hinge that plugs into the forearm on both arms is actually the easier one to move. The one that plugs into the bicep, which also has a swivel on its own, interestingly enough, that one doesn't really want to bend too much. So I already gave this the heat treatment, so I don't know if that's just going to be the luck of the draw for this one or something else. But also, as you can tell, there is a swivel for the forearm. Now, for quality control wise, mine basically only has one big issue, and that is going to be both of the wrist attachments for Pennywise, and that one probably just stuck in there, like to fall off. So that does bother the articulation a bit, and a lot of folks would say that is a big issue, but to be honest with you, if I just put a little bit of super glue in there and I just plug that back in and just let it sit for a little bit, it'll be fine. I think it was just a matter of poor glue at the factory. But anyway, That is how the arms of Pennywise here move. We do have a ball-jointed waist joint, so we can twist and turn Pennywise around. Thankfully, this one's not stuck, and I'm not going to shear it off, which is amazing. Then we do have the legs down here, which they swivel forward and back, hinge out to the side, but unfortunately, the pantaloons, as I've been told, they do block the articulation. I don't know why they're using this thicker plastic. Maybe they could use something a little smaller. A little thinner anyway, that has a bit more give. This hinge here on mine is stuck. It don't want to move for whatever reason, but it is what it is. We do have thigh swivels, so we can spin the legs around. We do have a double hinge joint system for the knee, but it's kind of okay. They do also get a little bit of spinning movement, but it ain't really worth it that much, except for down here. That's pretty cool. Then we do have hinge and swivel for the ankles, so this way we can move the feet forward and back, and then we get some ankle rocker movement out of them. Now, one humongous disclaimer I want to give to anyone who's looking to get this figure. Be sure to heat it up as best as you can before you start moving any of the parts. Why is that? Well, you are going to have some parts that are going to be refusing to move at all, and as you go to move it, you might and break a part off, so that's great. And I just realized I didn't cover it, but it's pretty simple. Hinge and swivel for the wrist, which is kind of blocked because of the clothing of Pennywise there. So anyway, the articulation is pretty solid. You can get some decent movement out of Pennywise, but it's not going to be anything over the top. But you can still have fun. Now we're going to go ahead and move on over to accessories where, admittedly, Pennywise here is a little light on them. I think they could have maybe thrown in something else to really beef this up, but at the same time, it gets the job done. Pennywise does come with a Got-'em hand and comes with 2 different types of balloons, one etched and one red, and of course, we do get the alternate head part. So I want to go ahead and take a look at those alternate head parts here, where it's just going to be Pennywise with a more serious face. Now, if you take a look at the box, which we will take a look at a second here, this matches closer, I believe, to what we see in the movie, and on the box anyway. Pennywise isn't really happy or cheery in that little sketch, so this one makes more sense to be the default head, and yeah, I'm going to use this one instead of the happy one. Now, Pennywise does come with 2 balloons, and obviously we do get the hand to hold the balloon, so here's Pennywise with a red balloon. I think the only reason they included this is because, 1, the red against the grayscale looks pretty cool, and 2, if you know anything about these balloons NECA's been making, that wire, if it bends, it's going to throw the whole display off, so yeah, you get another balloon. Anyway, the other balloon, the etched balloon, which is a bit more appropriate for this Pennywise, does look pretty sweet. They actually went out of the way to put little black etch marks on it, almost like stitching, and the paint application admittedly could be touched up a little bit better. It looks like there was an actual paint bubble on mine that popped, but, you know, it's rather forgivable. What is kind of concerning, though, is if you look right down the seam of this balloon, it's 2 different colors. So, yeah. Now, I don't normally do this because the box really shouldn't be the reason you are buying a figure. It should be what's on the inside, but admittedly, boxes can look cool, and this is a case where that is very, very much so true. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there are a lot of folks who are going to be getting this release just to keep him in the box. This box is so cool. It's embossed. It has actual texture to it. This is the best box out of all of the NECA SDCC exclusives released this year. And I got to be honest with you, this is the nicest looking box I have seen for a figure in quite some time. We're talking close to the SH Monster Art Shin Godzilla presentation levels of the box. So yeah, this is really, really cool. So overall for accessories, I do think that Pennywise is a little light on accessories. They could have at least thrown in something else, maybe the Deadlight's head, just to be cool, because even though that may not be accurate, it would be nice to have it. But, you know, you can get a decent display out of this one. So if you're looking to maybe spice up your display a little bit, you know I have videos to help you out with that. Now we're going to go ahead and move on over to a size comparison, which is admittedly going to be a little light because at this point you should know how big this Pennywise is, especially if you're looking to get a repaint. So as you can see, he should blend in perfectly well with your 7-inch or so scale figures you already have, including some of the other horror phenoms in your collection. Now, since this is a repaint of Pennywise, we obviously have to do a side-by-side comparison with the original release. Or in this case, it's going to be a reissue of the original release where the paint apps are a bit darker and the faces do look a little different. Yeah, I have the reissue, not the original release of Pennywise. I didn't do any sort of swap out. Yeah. Anyways, you can see here the paint difference is obviously noticeable. Now, what's really cool here, or what's actually rather odd, is that if you take a look at the default face for both Pennywise right out of the box, yes, it's the smiling face. You get a little bit of teeth showing, and that weird grin. But if you actually take a look at the underside of all of the different Pennywise heads around where his chin is, you'll actually get to see letters and numbers. On the reissue of the original release Pennywise, the head is marked 2B, but on this one, it's marked 2D. So were there slight sculpt changes? Did they have to make a new mold? The old one get destroyed in the process of making them? Don't know. What's kind of weird, though, is that the actual other head is marked 2C, and the other corresponding head for the original Ultimate Pennywise is marked the same, so I don't know. Life's unsolved mysteries. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. To be honest with you, this is going to kind of be a no-brainer based on your own preferences. If you do think that this is pretty neat, chances are you already ordered this guy. And if not, well, I don't necessarily think I'd be able to sway you in the direction of buying it. But maybe this last little bit will help push you there. If you're into some of the more stylized horror figures, like the NES video game appearance Jason and Freddy like you're seeing on the screen here, think about it like this. We're probably never going to get a video game appearance Pennywise figure in any way, shape, or form, because I don't think there were any It video games, so this is going to be the closest we can get to one of those. And as you can see here on your screen, he blends in perfectly well with the two other horror icons you can see on the screen. So if you're into stylized figures, if you like It, you like Stephen King, yeah, go ahead and pick it up. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for STR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand-selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand-selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next video.